Hi everybody, it's Maha here, and today is day 4 of my reading from my beautiful award-winning world first book, Dance of the Womb, that I've been sharing with you over the last few days. And this book has been endorsed by Dr. Michel Odent, Sheila Kitzinger, Dr. Sarah Buckley, and I self-published it in the year 2008 when I was pregnant at 46 with my beautiful third child, Amina, who I went on to have a home birth with. And my book was also the winner of the Living Now Gold Award in the Exercise and Fitness section of Self-Publishers Award in the USA in 2009. So I'm very, very proud of this. I call this my 4th baby. And today the talk is going to, or the book that chapter I'm going to read is the Cervix chapter. Now, the Cervix chapter is a very potent chapter. It's not a long chapter, but it's a very, very deep chapter. And for me, it's a very emotional chapter of my book. I can feel my heart beating here because it's highly emotional to me, this part of the book, because the story that prefaces the cervix is the story of when I got the first phone call when they had found my blood mother, my natural mother, in Lebanon. And this is the chapter of the cervix represented by the beautiful petals of the rose and that which we all carry within us as women, the layers of that rose, the perfume, the nectar of our story, the nectar of our birthing, the nectar of who we are as women. And it is that nectar that perfumes the world with our gift in the way in which we birth and the way that we journey toward our conception, pregnancy, birthing journey. And my book, as I've mentioned before, is a universal book of the dance of the womb, the dance of the feminine, the dance of birth. And it is accessible and meaningful to all women, regardless of where you come from, because we are all connected by this thread of life, this spiritual, sacred, woven thread of all of our stories, all of our experiences, all that we are carrying from our mother line, or we are carrying from our partner's mother line as well. And this is something that is often not talked about, is within the sperm and the partner that you're with, or the sperm that has created and alchemized with your egg to make the beautiful fruit that we call our baby, that we grow within us, also has its particular nuances as well that are related to the history of our partner's family too. So we are blending together within our womb wisdom, both family stories that come together. So the cervix is a very, very interesting part of our body because it is our emotional gateway as women. It is our sexual gateway. It is where we all have come through our mothers. So the cervix lies at the floor of the uterus, the floor of our womb, and it also is at the top of our vagina. So it is like the gateway of life. So the cervix carries a lot of emotion and a lot of emotional qualities. And in the system, or the way the medical views the cervix opening and dilating and thinning out for birth, is a very mechanical kind of look in at the cervix. And for me, I know the cervix is touched by our emotional world. You cannot force the cervix to open. And this is part of the impatience that we've spoken about in the past readings, that in the system often, and people are very impatient, forcing that cervix to open. And you cannot force. What that will do is cause the woman's body to constrain and to contract. What we're wanting is the cervix to open, the mother's body to flower, to open, to feel safe, to feel secure, to reveal her emotional self. Because that is what birth is about. We are revealing all that is within our bodies, our vulnerability, our fears, our joys, our ecstasy. We are processing, we are integrating when we give birth. So we need patience for that. Birth is a very vulnerable experience. Yeah, so we cannot be authentic and vulnerable when we are being coerced or forced for our cervix to open, to dilate, to thin, whatever the terminology that is used. So it's a very special part of our body that's connected to our whole woman and connected to our whole baby. As I say in Embodied Birth, you are a whole woman birthing your whole baby as you dance together this dance of life. And every baby is different. Every baby, we carry those different nuances and vulnerabilities depending on that particular soul, that baby that we are carrying. And that's why I encourage women, talk to your baby. So the cervix is very much about visualizing deeply into the cervical area, deeply connecting to the spirit of our baby, talking to our baby, meditating, feeling what is going on deep in our body. What is it that we are needing to emotionally process in order for our physical body to expand and open, which is that gateway, the cervix. So, as I mentioned, this is a very deeply poignant chapter for me in my book. I'm reading from my world first award-winning book, Dance of the Womb. And the cervix is very much, for me, from the experience that I had when I spoke to my mother for the first time, because I was taken from her as a 6-month-old baby by my father, brought to Australia when I was 2, and I started searching for my mother when I was 27, and that story is in my book. And one day I was just at home in my flat and the phone rang, and when I picked up the phone, the voice on the other end of the phone said, "Maha, is that you, Maha?" And I had had a dream 1 week before that I picked up the phone and there was a voice on the other, a husky, deep voice on the other end of the line saying, "Maha, is that you, Maha?" And this is what happened. And as I picked up that phone, I said, yes, it's me. And the voice that came back was, "This is your mother, Lydia, calling from Lebanon." I'm very emotional, and it was when I was 33. This is 23 years ago. Yet this feeling still sits in my body. For the first time to hear my mother's voice since I was a 6-month-old baby. And I froze, and I couldn't believe that I was listening to my mother's voice and that it was connecting to this dream that I had. And not only that, I felt it was one of those old telephones where you pick it up and the cord is attached to the phone. And I felt like it was reconnecting me to the cord, the umbilical cord with my mum. So as I spoke to her, I felt the essence of connection again with her after such a long time of abandonment, 33 years. And so that cord of the phone represented to me the reconnection to my roots, to my mother, to that cervix, like trusting her to release me, to birth me. And so that is, for me, the cervix movement is very much about that feeling that I carry deep, that pain, that abandonment, that sense of not belonging, and then reconnecting to my mother through this emotional gateway. So it felt very strange, and it was a very deep moment, and I talk about that. And I remember running to the bathroom and looking in my eyes after I had spoken to my mum, and I said, "Maha, never forget this look into your eyes. Never forget this feeling that you feel as you reconnect and make contact again with your birthing mother." And that is the feeling of the cervix dance. So I talk about the cervix dance where we carry that cervical plug, protecting our baby in the womb. And then the mysteries of Mother Nature miraculously guiding the jewel gates of our cervix to open. In this belly dance birth exercise, you can visualize your cervix thinning and opening to that 10 centimeters, or as I like to say, to that emotional readiness, like the gates of the rose petals opening. And it touches me very deeply when I also had to, move through this as well in the birth of my own 3 children. and having that connection to my mother, and the disconnection and then the reconnection, and drawing on the strength that I had to find within myself to open that emotional gateway of our cervix. And that is why I implore birth professionals, obstetricians, doctors, midwives, to not coerce the cervix to open, not to coerce the mother to move through birth at your pace. There is a pace, there is a rhythm, there is a song and dance to the way the cervix will open or close. And that is what is another amazing thing, is the cervix can close again. Once it has thinned and dilated and opened, anything that's happening in the mother's external environment and her internal world that doesn't feel safe, that is not honouring, that isn't respecting, that cervix will close again. And I remember I witnessed at the home birth of my sister, we put a little rose that was closed, the bud was closed in her room where she was going through her beautiful opening and letting go and surrendering in her birth. It was a white rosebud, and it was tiny at first. And as the energy in the room grew, I caught a glimpse of the rose smiling at us all, open, warm, radiating its sensual charm throughout the room. The bud had opened as she had opened. Nature, spirit, birth, all entwined to reveal a hidden magic, beaming bright, honouring the presence of another cherished soul. As you birth your baby, visualise the flowering of your cervix, like this very same bud, opening the universal channels of life. So our cervix movement, it is only one very, very deep and potent movement, and all the instruction is there. And it's very much a meditative visualization movement. So we're visualizing that part of ourselves, of our cervix with our baby, talking to our baby, breathing, gently moving into the cervix, acquainting ourselves with our cervix, getting to know our cervix as it connects to our womb and our whole woman and our baby. Looking at releasing anything that's holding us back, any constraints, any constrictions that cause tension in the body can weave their way through our cervix. So it's really, really important to do this dance, this visualization. And you can also do it as a laying down meditation. And I say the small circular movement is the one that requires subtlety at a deep level. By adding the visualization of the cervix, this exercise, when danced, feels more like an energetic configuration rather than just purely a physical one. Play with the size of your circle, small and tight to bigger and wider, and then reduce the circle back to fit snugly around your visualized cervix. Surrender to your sensuality, drifting with your baby into a quiet meditative lull. The cervix dance is very healing and invites deep focus within. It can restore peace to the spirit, allowing the core of the cervix to release fears around sexuality and birth. Because remember, we've talked about this before too, and we talk about this in body birth, that the cervix is also like the heart of the woman, the heart of our cervix and womb area. Our heart cannot open if we are feeling tense and scared, frightened and fearful. Just like in sexuality, we need to take our time. There needs to be patience. We need to be loved. We need to be touched sensually and in a connected presence, just like birth, in order for our cervix to soften and open. So cleansing, purifying and balancing the most cherishing birthing gateway. Freeing up your cervix frees up our fears around birth, and we are more able to open and surrender. In both of my pregnancies, I felt as though I was residing in a huge protective bubble. I felt as though I was encased in a womb within a womb with my baby. Although I had anxieties, fears, questions, and feelings of vulnerability, it was as though nothing could hurt me or harm me. And that was really from the outside, when we can encase ourselves and give ourselves this protective bubble and then move into the body and create that body awareness coming from our own autonomy and sovereignty. We can work with we can process, we can integrate, we can deal with what's happening in an emotional sense. And that allows us to speak our voice to those on the outside, our partner, the doctor, the midwife, yeah, our mothers, our fathers, anyone around us, once we can come into our center and come into that place of strength and confidence. And we say in Embody Birth and Belly Dance Birth, don't birth in fear, birth through your fear. So these somatic practices will bring you into alignment with what you want, what you're choosing, what you want to speak, the vision of birth that you want to create. That is what the cervix dance is all about. And so I am offering a couple of free chapters to the cervix, to the book of Dance of the Womb, and I'll leave the links for you if you'd like to read a couple of chapter samples. And don't forget, my book is also available as a hard copy book and an ebook, all via my website. So thank you for listening to me on the cervix dance. It is a very emotional chapter, as I mentioned, reconnecting to my birthing mother. A huge journey, and this journey of mine gives me the understanding of why I work with pregnant mothers, why I want to keep mothers and babies together, why I don't want the severing of that connection, that bond, that deeply heartfelt bond between mothers and babies must be preserved, must be truly cared for, must have compassionate care. Because otherwise we are going to just keep creating a world of disconnection, of disharmony, of people looking for a sense of belonging. And it all starts through conception, through pregnancy, and the way in which mothers birth their babies. So we need to stand back and allow the song and dance of birth to unfold. The song of the womb, the song of the cervix, the song of the feminine language of birth, the song of woman. Okay, we need to trust women. We need to stop interfering. We need to stop controlling and having power over the intelligence of the mother, her wisdom, her baby, her womb. We know how to give birth. Most times we go wrong because of the interference, the unnecessary interference. And I want you to understand, I'm always only talking about unnecessary interference, not an emergency situation or where there is a necessity or where a mother asks for assistance and help. Okay? We must start with the possibility that everything will go right in birth, and we work out from that center where the mother and the baby are. Okay, when I was 46 years of age and I went to the doctor to get my bloods because I was having a home birth, but I needed to get the forms for my blood tests just to double check everything. And the doctor said to me, I hope that you have booked into a hospital. And I looked at him and I said, I know what I'm doing. I'm fine. My baby's fine. There was nothing wrong with us. And I said to him, how about this for an idea? How about if everything goes right? What about that possibility? Why not look at possibility, not what's impossible? And he looked at me. He couldn't believe that a woman had spoken up against him. And I just said, thank you, but no thanks. And I walked out his door because I would not allow that negativity to come into my field. I know what I was doing. And I had a beautiful home birth midwife, and I would never put my child in danger if that was the case. But let's not put danger before mother's wisdom. This is what I want to say. Yeah? What happens is danger, impossibility, negativity, just in case, steps forward, and it clouds women's vision. Yeah? It undermines our wisdom. It undermines what we know to be true. Women are highly instinctive and intuitive when we are pregnant. And that is what Embody Birth and Dance of the Womb is guiding you to come to, is inspiring you to come to the wisdom that sits within your body, not in your head, in your body. And when we dance these movements of the belly dance birth, we come into that living book within so we can read her. Okay? So That is where the education needs to go, is bringing women home to your knowing, your heart, your wisdom, your baby, your hands, so babies can be born into the arms of love, not into the arms of fear. Okay? I inspire women through my embodied birth and belly dance birth, and I do lots of consultations with women all over the world, globally. Get in touch if you would like support emotionally to bring you home to what you already know. Okay, letting go of that noise on the outside, coming into that cervix wisdom, your womb wisdom that we all carry as part of our female lineage. Okay, this information is organic. It can never ever be severed from us. Never. Only unless we allow it. Okay, I want you to be strong. Hey, thank you, John. That's lovely. So I want you as women to be strong. How did I birth at home at 46? Not from a place of lack, from a place of abundance, of knowing who I am, of being connected to my body. That's what I want you to all come to, that place, okay? Your truth, your authenticity, your vulnerability, because that is where your strength lies, okay? We have too many women in protection and not enough women able to let go, to release, to surrender. And this is about coming back to basics, coming back to connection to your body through the belly dance birth dance movements. This is one way to get there, okay? To access and activate the dance of the womb, the wisdom that you carry. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. So remember, if you want to get a couple of sample chapters, sign up. And if you want to subscribe to my website, please do, mahaalmusa.com. And keep in touch. If you need a consultation, please get in touch with me. And yes, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Any comments, please leave them. Please write to me. And let's stay in touch. And I'll be back tomorrow for day 5, reading of the hands and the arms. A very, very beautiful chapter as well. So sending everybody lots of love, namaste, and have a beautiful day till tomorrow. Bye.